This is your Weather Extreme video for Saturday, March the 27th. I'm meteorologist Brian Peters, and I don't know if you were around March 27th, 1994, but this is the day of what is termed the Piedmont Tornado that occurred on Palm Sunday. This was a Palm Sunday, and unfortunately, there were 20 people killed at the Goshen United Methodist Church, even though warnings were out 12 minutes in advance, but they were in church services and simply did not get the word. Well, today we're not going to see any severe storms. Today's going to be a beautiful day. Let's get right to our Skycam imagery. There's a look at Dauphin Island, and the lights going out down there, but we can see a little color to the sky. And just could not help but grab this one. This is the Alabama River at Selma. Obviously, the Montgomery station has turned the camera to away from the bridge, and we can see the color in the sky over there. And then getting up into the northern part of the state, there's a look at the lights of Decatur, and we can see a little color in the sky there too. A surface low-pressure area over northwestern Oklahoma is our next storm system that'll be giving us some rain tomorrow, so we get to enjoy another beautiful day today. And the culprit in the upper atmosphere is a pretty strong short wave that is coming, a pretty strong trough, actually, coming through the flow. And that will be responsible for moving across our area and bringing us some storms on Sunday. And then the possibility of severe weather, especially across the eastern sections of the state and into Georgia, perhaps more into Georgia than the eastern part of Alabama, but we'll talk about that in just a minute. All right, the temperatures across the country, rather mild. Look at that. You got to go all the way up to the northern tier of the United States for the freezing line. Well, it does dip down into eastern Kentucky. As you look a little closer to home here, 40 degrees or so is primary values across central Alabama, although a few spots dipping into the upper 30s. Wind advisories, those are the brown ones in effect for a large area of the central part of the United States, and that green area in Missouri is flooding. So a few winter storm advisories in Colorado, but otherwise not too bad going on today. QPF-wise, looking for rainfall on the order of about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch across, especially the northern part of the state. One of the reasons for the low amounts is that the atmosphere is just plain quite dry and is probably not going to recover real well before that next system gets here. All right, how about Storm Prediction Center's outlook for today, and primarily Arkansas. They didn't quite stay within the boundaries there of Arkansas. They actually pick up a little bit of northwestern Mississippi and Memphis in extreme southwest Tennessee. Then on the next day, we will be looking at severe weather, as I say, from eastern or east central Alabama across a large part of Georgia and into the Carolinas. Now, we'll be looking at the 06Z GFS model run here in just a second, but it would appear that probably the greatest threat is going to be just a little further east than that. But, the atmosphere can recover sometimes very quickly. All right, this is the 06Z GFS model run, and this is for Sunday at midday, 18Z or 1 o'clock, now that we're on daylight savings time. And you can see the trough moving through the flow and beginning to affect the southeastern U.S. The surface low is over, looks like southern Indiana and maybe southwestern Ohio there as the cold front begins to move through the area. So it looks like we'll see some rain possibly in the morning. Let's take a little closer look at this. Now, this is actually the precipitable water as well as the lifted index for 21Z on the 28th tomorrow, Sunday. And you can see that based on the 06Z GFS model run, it would appear that the greatest instability will be a little further east. And that certainly does seem pretty reasonable in light of the fact that the atmosphere is fairly dry. Of course, along with that, you're going to see the surface dew points surge in the similar area there. If we look at the Cape, and this is the greatest Cape, and you can see that once again the greatest Cape, like the lifted index, is actually a little further east into Georgia. So we'll be watching that, but it looks like the main threat could be in east central Alabama and over into Georgia, with, I think right now it looks like, the main threat in Georgia. But stay tuned to the blog for the latest conditions. Now, by Monday, the 29th, it looks like the trough is now kind of the trough axis is just past us, so we should be out of the woods primarily, but we still may see a little bit, another little round of some clouds and perhaps a little patchy light rain or a light shower or two on Monday. By Tuesday, things are cleared out well as that surface low heads on up the mid-Atlantic states and the east coast of the U.S. Now, on Wednesday, we're firmly under a ridge, and we can see the next big trough coming in on the west coast, but that means we should be dry under surface high pressure on Wednesday. Thursday, that strong trough begins to inch its way our way as it approaches the Four Corners, but in the meantime, we are really under a strong ridge, so look for temperatures to warm up very, very nicely. The ridge holds tough and grows stronger as the trough comes in and exits by the Four Corners area. It's showing signs of perhaps heading to the north-northeast, and that means that it may be kind of slow for the precipitation to get here, but it looks like Friday will be dry as moisture returns into Texas and Oklahoma. And then by Saturday, that ridge is really holding tough. You can see the 582 circle over the mid-Atlantic states, New York, Pennsylvania, and the Delmarva area. But that trough is still out to our west. So the result is that the precipitation seems to stay just to our west, perhaps inching into the western part of the state by the afternoon of Saturday. So looks like a pretty good week coming up after we get past tomorrow. Now let's go out into voodoo country, and here is a look at Wednesday, the 7th of April. And you can see another strong trough coming through the flow, and that would be responsible for a strong surface low up in Canada with a cold front stretching down into the southeastern United States, and that could mean some marginally severe weather as a possibility. And then the pattern becomes somewhat flatter on the 11th at the end of the period as we have kind of a double-barreled low pattern over the southern tier of Canada, and a little trough moving through our area, but essentially dry. Well, I thank you for tuning in to the Weather Extreme video. My next one will be tomorrow morning at by about 8 a.m. or so. In the meantime, I hope that you have a great Saturday, and Godspeed.
Each day, there are new stories to tell about the people who live here and the place we call home.
All of the faces that I see, all of the places close to me, they're all part of all the best things about home.
Sharing your stories on ABC 3340, Alabama's news leader.